Hi friend, David here from Learn Stage Lighting, and today I'm excited to bring you my beam fixtures buyer's guide. When it comes down to it, beam fixtures have a couple things that are in common across any beam fixture you buy. Okay, the first is that they shoot through the air a super defined beam of light. The second is that they often are a little shorter on features compared to other fixtures that you may be looking at, like spots or washes. And therefore, the price when you're comparing a fairly equal beam versus wash versus spot, often the beams are the cheapest, then a similar size wash would come next, and a similar size spot and profile unit would be the most expensive units, but also the most versatile. Today we want to look at units, fixtures that are really just beams, and talk about the kind of features that they have going for them and how they may or may not work for you. All right, so we've got three beams today behind us here. Actually, I'll just turn them all on at full. They're real bright at full. And so first we've got here, this little guy right here is the Gamma Nano beam, okay? This beam is, we've got one from Gamma called the Nano beam. There's also a model from Eliminator called the Stealth beam that are pretty similar. What you get basically is an RGBW LED. So the big benefit there is that you can color mix in this unit. The Gamma one is a 2-degree beam. So it goes really quite far. It's a 60-watt unit. It goes really far and comes in at a really great price. Now the downside is no gobos, no prisms, no zoom, none. You don't get any of that. Okay, it literally is just, if we turn only it on, it literally is just RGBW through the air. So you can see here, we can change some colors. It's red, green, blue. That's a full white. Different colors, it can mix them. It does a nice job. You know, we can go to the color picker. You see it transitions smoothly. Is it the most beautiful piece of art kind of light ever? Well, no, but it makes a nice beam of light. It's got a little bit of spread to it, or like I mentioned, the Eliminator model, the Stealth beam at this time at least, is the current model there, is a little wider, and it really shoots through the air in atmosphere, or if you're outside, it'll pick up without atmosphere, and it looks really nice. Okay, and it's by far the cheapest of the beams. Now let's talk about more conventional beams, beams that you typically see. So behind us here we have a 250 watt beam unit. I believe it's an 11R that we get from Gamma. And we have different models depending on what you're looking for exactly in them. It is a lamp-based beam, and so the benefit there is it's bright and punchy. Let's turn it on. And so this one we call the Dominar Lampa, at least in the Christmas light space, but we can get it in the stage lighting world. Ignoring the little bit of spread that you see in the beam, that is coming from the lens here being quite wide. But let's look at the other view. You can see it's a very sharp beam. It has right here a hot spot in the center, and that ultimately, when we go back to the front view, is what makes it pop so much. Now, I'm gonna just turn it down so we don't blind you. So beams like this, lamp-based beams, are really pretty inexpensive compared to other fixtures. When you consider how bright this is and how punchy it is outdoors on a large stage, whatever, it's really inexpensive. The lamps, depending on what model you go with, are going to range from 2,000 hours up to 6,000 hours at the very max. Okay, and typically those lamps are $100 to $200 or so to replace. And so that's something you want to think about if you're using it a lot. We'll talk about more features that you see in this one in a minute, but let's just go to our third option real quick. So here we have the Gamma Torrent, or we have it as the Dominar beam as well in the Christmas light space. Again, just a kind of side project we do here. And this light is cool because when we compare the two, we see a pretty similar output. I know it's a little bit hard to tell on camera. Maybe if I turn this one and don't blind everybody. I'm trying also not to burn holes in my office wall. That's always a good plan. But you can probably see if I get right between the two, these two fixtures have a very similar beam. However, this being a 250 watt lamp, about a 1.8 degree beam spread, this, the Dominar beam or the Gamma Torrent, it gives us a 1.2 degree beam, a little bit tighter, but it's a 300 watt LED source. Now both these fixtures, if I bring up, we'll talk about what's the same about them and what you can find in them, are great buys. The LED is going to cost more, but of course you don't have lamp hours that you're going to run out of eventually, right? And have to replace and have that continuing maintenance. The Dominar is also IP65 rated, which is pretty cool, the Torrent / Dominar. Depending on what branding we put on it, but we can get it for either way. So if we go to color is the first thing they both have, and so they both have a color wheel with different colors in them. No, the colors don't line up perfectly, but you can see they've got a number of nice colors in them that you can switch through. Then they both have gobos as well. So they both have gobos. I believe the Dominar has 17. And the Lempa here, or the beam base, has 13. But again, depending on if you're looking for a beam fixture and you approach us at Learn Stage Lighting Gear, we're going to have different options depending on what's on the market currently. Do you need it to be IP rated, etc. Okay, so they've got gobos. The other thing they've got that goes well with the gobos is you get prisms. Okay, so the prism, as you can see, breaks up that light, really breaks it up nice in the air so that as it shoots across the air, you get that cool breakup. I'm actually going to step out of the way for a second. And you can see that breakup here, how it really makes it wide, makes the beam look really awesome in the air. Okay, the prisms allow it to kind of be a hybrid almost, to do multiple things. Okay, so we've got that. Then let's talk about special things. So that's pretty much everything that the Dominar does. It does have a frost as well. See if we can get both frosts in. Oops. And the frost, you know, like I would say you can take the frost, you can put it in a beam unit, you can point that towards the audience, get kind of a blinder look. It's not really great for like lighting signs or set pieces or anything, but in a pinch it can work. Now, the Lempa here, besides the frost, which inserts, with beams, they're typically not linear. It's either in or out. They just pop in or out. But the Lempa, on the end of the frost wheel, also has a non-frosted rainbow chip. It's got 6 colors in it. Looks pretty cool with the prism. The Lempa / a lot of these units that have a prism in it, it actually has 2 prisms, and in both units the prisms can rotate, so you can see that there. Ooh. But in the Lempa, this is pretty cool. There's actually a second prism. Okay, and you put that in with the color, and you get now, I believe, 48 facets of prism when you stack them. They can rotate as well. And you can have them in with the rainbow effect. And so you get that going, and all of a sudden, oh, that's really cool. That really pops, right? Whereas this guy, the Torrent beam, or the Dominar, as we call it here at Learn Stage Lighting, from Gamma, that guy allows you to get the prism in, and again, it will still rotate. There it goes. Yeah, try to get the speed kind of close. It'll still rotate, but again, you know, not quite as many features as a lamp-based unit, but pretty similar. So now that we've talked about all 3 of these, let's just turn on the Nano beam, and then we're going to take down the master on our console here way down so we can see again. So when we talk about these 3 units, if you're looking for a beam light and you're looking at these different types, what do you look for? First and foremost, I do recommend just going over to us at Learn Stage Lighting Gear. Add any of these to your quote list and ask us for a quote and let us know what other lights you use and what kind of events you do, and we can recommend a fixture for you. Across all three, they're all good buys, and we have multiple brands so we can look at, okay, what fixture lines up the most with what you need. When you talk about beams, especially these big guys, the 300 watt LED or the lamp base, you are going to get more fan noise than a typical spot or wash. Beams get real hot and they have real small sources, so they have a lot of fan noise. Both these units have variable speed fans though, so if you're not using them, they will quiet down to a minimum. But ultimately, something like, especially this 300 watt LED beam unit from Gamma, the Torrent / Dominar from Learn Christmas Lighting on my other channel. This guy, is great on mid-sized stages, and by time you're on like a 50 or 60 foot wide stage, typically where you'd want a fixture that's this bright, then the fan noise, in that size of a space is not going to be that loud. Okay, something like this, they both move quite fast. All of them move really pretty fast. Just to show you here, we'll tilt them all. You can see they all tilt pretty quick. Get them back, more or less. A little more brightness so you can see. So those beams can all move pretty quick. They can tilt pretty quick. Then they can also pan pretty quick. So you see them all moving there. Now I've got them just whacked out in different places. And so across the board, all great options. They really are great options. How do you choose? Whether it's a beam, LED-based fixture. I'm just going to take this guy and get him pointing back in our direction again. Do you go with a LED-based unit like this? No lamp changes ever, low heat. You don't have to worry about keeping it far from items that you're lighting for risk of fire. Good standard set of features. Awesome type unit. Do you go for more of a lamp-based beam? A little less expensive, but they're both not expensive. And what you gain, in the lamp is a little more features out of a lamp-based unit, but you got to change those lamps every 2,000 hours. Depending on what kind of shows you do, how often you lamp them on for, that 2,000 hours could be a number of years. So it may not matter to you that you do have to change those lamps. And then last again, the Nano beam, little tiny guy there, gives you a punch, great for smaller venues, even mid-sized venues. You really can use something like this. Again, right now intensity's down a good bit, and get a really great look out of it. So I hope you enjoyed this quick look at some different beam lights. If this applied to you and you said, I'm looking for a beam, here's my circumstance, what would be the best option? Let us know. Head over to LearnStageLightingGear.com, fill out a quote request, or if you have no idea what you're looking for, but you want to add some beams, fill out our contact form. We'll get in touch. We'll look at what you got. We'll let you know what a really good option would be for your needs. Until next time, I'm David from Learn Stage Lighting. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, please do subscribe. And if you're looking to get beam fixtures or units, lights of any kind, hop over to Learn Stage Lighting Gear. We would love to help you get that. Be your dealer. We've got lots of brands. We can look across even brands that aren't listed on the site and find what is best for you and your budget, not just one or two brands that we carry, but across all of the brands we can get access to. We want to do what's best for you and earn your long-term business. So if that sounds good, head over to LearnStageLightingGear.com and we will see you in our next video. Thanks.